Would you go in the sea here yourself?
Absolutely not.
I don't want to be, I don't know what I'm allowed to say, but I don't want to be swimming with danger of a turd floating past my face.
Who does?
Who does?
I love swimming, and anytime it's a hot day, it's any excuse to get your t-shirt off and go into there, but absolutely not, no, knowing what's in there, no, absolutely no.
You said that you can sometimes even see the debris in the water.
Yeah, you can, definitely, and loads of people have. It's ridiculous that is the dream, that you don't have to check an app to see if has been released in the sea.
Would you get in the sea, even if it was boiling hot, knowing about the sewage overflows in Whitstable here?
Absolutely not. Yeah, I value my life very much. Yeah.
Whitstable is the jewel in the crown of the Kent coast. Oysters, beach huts, fishing. This is a beautiful place to visit and live. But what you might not know is that sewage is discharged directly onto the beach here. In the last few years, Southern Water has come under fire from campaigners who say that they need to do more to keep the oceans clean. We're here to find out what people think.
It's such an incredible resource, and for them to be able to. So last summer, I think, like almost half the time that we wanted to go and swim, we couldn't because there were releases.
And how do you know about the releases? Is it online, or would you be able to see a difference in the water?
There definitely has been times that you can visibly see a difference. They have Southern Water have an app called Beach Boy, so they put the releases on there.
Well, actually, it has affected me quite badly because when she's 2.5 now, and when she was about 5-6 months, she got very, very ill. She couldn't keep anything down. She was throwing up, and she's a spaniel, so she's a mad swimmer. Sometimes I think she's half otter. She got very, very ill. They couldn't find out what was wrong with her. She couldn't keep anything down, and her liver went into failure. And it's not for sure, but I can only put it down to the water.
And it actually just makes me very angry. It just sort of think it's another thing on another thing on another thing. I mean, the sort of lack of care for any kind of decency or cleanness, you know. I mean, it's like people leaving litter on the beach, but it's so much worse than that. And to think that all the people that come down here are treated to filthy seas. So I do worry.
So it's my friend's birthday today, and I decided that we would take a quick day trip out of London, somewhere by the sea, because she's from France and loves her seafood. And then, so I went on TikTok, as you do, as a millennial, and I found that a guy had posted about the extreme pollution, well, the sewage pollution in the waters here. And I thought I just have to come and take a look and eat some sewage oysters. So,
And have you had any?
yeah, they were delicious.
They didn't taste of
No, they didn't taste like they smell like a little bit. But apart from that, it's a lovely place, and I think that we need to do a bit more to kind of preserve these places, especially places that have a very close proximity to London. There are much better solutions to these problems. Companies need to do a little bit more to preserve our coastline and preserve these areas of just natural beauty.
Do you think anything would be different if Labour forms the government after the next election?
I'd love to say yes, because that's where my vote's going. Although, if I could really have a vote that I thought would make any difference, I'd vote Green. But yes, I'm afraid my vote's going to go to Keir. I just can't see another Conservative government. I can't. I'll leave the country. And I don't say that lightly, actually. I actually would leave. I'd go back to Kenya.
The water companies provided should be forced to pay for the clean-up. The government should be definitely held accountable in some sort of way. I don't know fully in what way, but this should definitely go down in their name and their legacy at the end of the day, that they're the ones that have polluted this water.
Whitstable has the highest number of sewage releases of all the beaches on the Kent coast, which is really shocking given that it's still a working fishing village, a really popular tourist destination, and a foodie hotspot as well. Someone was telling us earlier that when the tide goes out, this whole area is filled with oyster beds that you can walk along, and the tractors behind us drive out to collect them. But last year there were almost 250 incidents of sewage releases on the coastline around Whitstable, and this year so far, in 2024, there have already been 79 incidents. Okay, so we're here in Wheeler's Oyster Bar.
Yep.
Could you tell me a bit about if and how the situation with the sewage runoffs affects your business here?
Yeah, I mean, you know, it dents people's confidence when they hear what's going on, but the customers need to be reassured that the due diligence that is being done is with people that are selling shellfish and merchants around the coastline is being done above and beyond. You know, they are testing and testing and testing more than they need to. If there is ever a problem, it's highlighted and it's shut down, so consumers should have the confidence in coming in, buying shellfish and carrying on. So they go into purification tanks and they are being purified for a lot longer now, and just to make everything as safe as it possibly can. So everything's being screened continually. And yeah, it's unfortunate what's going on at the moment, and hopefully, you know, people can come together and start to realise that our coastlines are really important to us.
Water companies have promised to invest £10 billion in new infrastructure, which will replace the ageing infrastructure that contributes to these overflows, sewage overflows. And what they've said is that they'll update everything by 2030, which will contribute to fixing the issue. But in a lot of cases, what that means is just building new overflow sewers that go further out to sea. So it doesn't mean that raw sewage won't be released into the oceans, it's just not going to be right on the beaches, which isn't really a lasting solution.
Because what's happened here, the privatisation of water is a legalised scam. And we have been mugged, basically. I just decided I was not going to pay any of my wastewater element, my bills in future. I'm pretty sure that we are the only country that has a fully privatised water industry. And when the water industry was privatised, what came with it was the infrastructure too. So, you know, it wasn't just the service, it was everything. And none of that has been maintained. All the money's just gone straight out. Whatever we paid has gone straight out of the system. It's gone to pay shareholders. The companies are 70% owned by foreign investment firms and countries that have quite enough money to remedy and rectify the damage that they've done. But instead, they're asking us to pay twice, and we're not going to pay twice. And that's why we're going to continue with the boycott. But quite honestly, you know, we see absolutely no way of this situation changing with any political party. It's not going to happen. The only party that said that it was going to renationalise the water industry when it got in was Labour under Corbyn. That was part of their manifesto, and that's what should have happened. But if this continues the way it is, as we say, you know, the companies are protected by statute, by law. We are meant to be paying them for a service we don't receive, and it's poisoning our environment. It's such a precious resource, and it's understood, you know, all over the world by every other country.
It's a human right, yeah.
Absolutely. And it should never have been put up for other people and companies to make huge profits from, including the CEOs. You know, making millions every year of the money that we've given them to basically provide us with a service we've never had. I decided, well, I'll do what you do when you find that you're paying a company for services that you're not receiving. And that's when I wrote to Southern Water and quoted the Consumer Act 2015 at them and said, you know, their wastewater services obviously left a lot to be desired, and I was not going to pay them, or I would come to some agreement whereby I would pay very little of the bill.
It's like they're private companies, but there are no other water companies. So people have to rely on Southern Water to get their water. They can't take their business elsewhere.
I'm so used. I do the testing with these guys. So we've got a water testing, a citizen science project. At the moment, it's still a work in progress, but we are hoping that we'll be able to build a picture up, perhaps of, for instance, if there has been a release, that we know that the swimming area will be clear within 24 or 48 hours, or 2 tides or something like that. If we can build a pattern up, so it protects the vulnerable humans. It doesn't protect the environment, which is I think when we're talking about things like that, sometimes that gets lost because we talk about sort of the humans on the beach, and we don't talk about the environment. But it's one fight at a time.